Question 3. Write all the following percentages and decimals in ascending order. There's two ways I can do this. So I can either change all my percentages to decimals, or I can change all my decimals to percentages. One way means I need to multiply by 100. The other way means I need to divide by 100. I personally prefer multiplying by 100, so I'm going to change all my decimals into percentages by multiplying by 100. Then I'm just going to look at the answers I get. Well, the first one's a percentage, so I don't need to do anything with it. If I take the 0.2 multiplied by 100, I'm going to get 20%. If I take 0.8 multiplied by 100, I'm going to get 8%. 12% I can leave, 78% I can leave. 0.7 times 100 gives me 70%. So in ascending order, so the smallest one is 8%. The next one is 12%. The next one is 20%. The next one is 35%. The next one is 70%. And the next one is 78%. So for the starred question, which is supposedly harder, it's exactly the same maths. I'm going to change all my decimals to percentages because that means I just have to multiply my decimals by 100. Now that 37 may not look like a decimal, but if I put a decimal point there, now does that look like a decimal? Now if I multiply that by 100, I get 3,700%. Okay. That's a percentage already, so I'll leave alone. Times this by 100, 0.489, I get 48.9%. So I've got the smallest so far. Oh, 3.23%, that's even smaller. Now I've got 12,300%. And lastly, I've got 0.004%. So this one, by changing percentages, also meant we did quite a lot less work. So that one's definitely the smallest, 0.004%. Then the next one is 3.23%. Then the next one is 48.9%. Then 423%. Then 3,700%. And then 12,300%. Question 4. Draw a line linking each fraction to the correct percentage and fill in the two empty boxes. So I'm going to ignore the ones with the empty boxes first because I don't know what they are, so there's no point in guessing. So I'm going to start with the ones I know. You should know that 3/4 is 75%. That's just one you are going to have to learn. Then if I go down, 1/5 is equal to 2/10, and 2/10 is 20%. So I can link those two. Not very well. I'm going to leave that. A half. A half is like 5/10, which is 50% or 50 over 100. So again, this is another one I would expect you to know. And then I'm going to miss this one out. And I've got 2/3, and 2/3 is 66 and 2/3%. And that's again one I expect you to know. So we're left with 90% hasn't been matched and 41% hasn't been matched. The 90% is like having 90 over 100 or 9/10. We've got a 9 there, so I suspect if we put a 10 there, I can now link them. 41% is 41 over 100. There's a fraction over 100. That must be 41. I can now link. Okay, and on to the last question. What fraction and percentage of each of these grids is shaded? So make all the fractions out of 100, which is what, and then we're going to work out, turn them into percentages. So here, this grid is a 10 by 10 grid. It has, therefore, 100 squares. And guess what? There are 32. So I've ignored my 8 over 25, but if I times 8 by 4, I get 32, and 25 by 4, I get 100. So I know that's right. So if it's 32 out of 100, it's 32%. Now this one is out of 50 because I've got 5 down, 10 across. And if you look at it, I've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 42 out of 50, which is the same as having 84 out of 100 because I've doubled the top and bottom, which is 84%. This one is out of 25. 5 times 5 is 25. I've got 6 squares. So if I want to make that out of 100, I times 25 by 4. So I times 6 by 4 and I get 24. So I've got 24%. This one, I've got 5. So in total, I've got 4 rows of 5. So I've got 20. I've again got 6 filled in. 20 will divide into 100 5 times. 5 sixes are 30. I've got 30%. This one's the starred question. If you got this right, absolutely fantastic. If you looked at this and turned and ran away screaming, I don't mind either because this is the hard one. So let's have a look at this. It's out of 8 and we've got 7/8. And you might have remembered from the beginning that 1/8 was 12.5%. So you might have remembered from the beginning that 1/8 is 12.5%. So 7/8, if I times this 12.5 by 7, because I've times that by 7, I will get 1280, I will get 87.5%. So is there another way to